time is it, Kira?
It's time for the State of Podcast, Alex.
Episode 14.
MCU special again.
MCU special again. I don't think we've had an MCU special since, 10 episodes ago, but we'll try our best. But no, obviously a lot of things have changed since the last episode. Last episode being set. What is this fucking film? No, but the last episode was pre the big, announcement from Disney of, oh, this is coming out, and this is coming out, and this is coming out, and this is coming out.
Well,
back in December.
Yeah.
Which we did do an episode on, but it was more of an episode of, Adam and I's reaction to those kinds of things. But no, this is a strictly MCU episode. Not only are we just going to hear your thoughts, but some of my opinions on the more recent kinds of things. So it's more relevant towards the TV shows, I feel, than the MCU as a whole.
I find it so funny though, like so weird that Phase 4 starts with the TV shows. 3 TV shows, really.
Well, it wasn't meant to
be Black Widow, which, yeah.
Well, yeah, no, the original plan was, it was originally going to be Far From Home. And they were like, no, we'll just have it as an epilogue to 3.
Oh.
Which is, it does feel like an epilogue of sorts. Because you kind of need something after Endgame, just kind of like pick me up sort of thing. But no, you have that, and then obviously they were like, no, we're going to have Black Widow be it. Which I think was kind of handy because it would have been a year, almost a year at least, since an MCU film. And I think we needed that for once. Not just because of the fact that, we had 3 films a year for the past how long, and not that we've already had 4 fucking projects, haven't we? But I think having a year not only made, fans kind of feel like, alright, what's coming next is going to be special in a way, but also it gives them enough time to be like, right, what are we going to do next? We're going to have, because let's be honest, they have probably Phase 4 and 5 planned.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah, because I think they at least had 4 planned in that year gap, which obviously plants the sort of seeds for 5. But yeah, it was originally meant to be Black Widow. Then it obviously got delayed. Then it was meant to be Falcon and Winter Soldier. And the original the original plan was Black Widow, Falcon and Winter Soldier, WandaVision, and Loki, I think. If not, I think Loki was meant to be after Eternals and Shang-Chi.
Yeah,
I think so.
Oh.
I think it was one of the fact that it's a TV show. That's why it came out now. Because if you think about it, Shang-Chi... Well, no, Shang-Chi's an exception. Shang-Chi only finished a couple of months ago, but Eternals has been done for so long. But they wanted to have a theatrical release. Because it is going to be a kind of a big deal sort of thing.
Yeah.
But, you can understand why they were just like, right, just have TV shows.
Yeah.
Because they were done and ready to, hand out, and they were never going to be in the cinema anyways.
Yeah.
So no matter what, people were going to watch them, especially with Disney Plus. Well, I think Disney Plus has opened up more doors for the MCU.
Yeah.
And telling smaller stories in a way, if you know what I mean.
I guess. Yeah. Well, the smaller stories works, but I don't like that Kevin Feige was like, oh, WandaVision and Falcon is not really going to have any impact on the movies because they don't want to ruin it for the film goers.
But then you've Loki.
Well, obviously.
Yeah. Right.
Loki's
First of all, we're going to say,
yeah.
not only is this going to be spoilers for Black Widow, obviously, we're going to just spoil everything. We don't really care. You know what the show's like.
Yeah.
Spoilers free is kind of bullshit anyway.
I know. You shouldn't be listening yet, unless you've watched it.
Well, I don't know why you'd watch something had you not You already watched it.
Exactly.
Well, let's just have a wee rundown
Okay.
of Marvel for you.
Of Marvel for me?
Yeah.
Oh god, who cares?
No, well, just to set the tone, you know what I mean? 'Cause like me, Adam and I obviously went down our ones back in episode 3 or whatever it was.
It's a lot. Well, you know,
I'm sure mine have changed by now, but I can't even remember what my previous ones were. But
well, I've only ever read one comic, the Civil War comic.
we do need to specify that Kira doesn't. Unlike Adam and I, Kira doesn't really read any
I
comics.
have no understanding of anything, which is it kind of works for me because I'm never really disappointed. Well, the source material is never a problem for me, whereas like I'm only judging.
Well, everything's a surprise, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do have that. Yeah, because I remember whenever I watched like The Winter Soldier, I didn't know Bucky obviously didn't die, so I was like, oh my god, it's Bucky. Yeah. And I'd say like if you had seen my reaction to that, you'd be like, oh god, like how did you not know that?
Yeah, well no, because even when they did that, and it's actually quite a newish comic at that time if you think about it.
Yeah.
Like it was only in the past 10, 15 years they did that. Pretty sure it was like early 2000s they did the whole Winter Soldier thing.
Okay.
I think it was in the Marvel Ultimate comics. Could be wrong. Probably am. But pretty sure Winter Soldier's in Civil War in the comic, isn't he? I think he is.
Is he?
I think
can't
he
remember.
is. Could be wrong. It's been about 10 years since I've read the comic. But
it's only been about like 3 years, right? I still don't remember.
Goldfish.
Exactly.
But still one of my favorite comics. But no, like I remember talking to my mate, and he was just like, "Oh, you know, it's just such a good film because it's such a twist and stuff." I'm like, well, to be fair, for the majority of audiences, it is a twist. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, if you're not like a comic book fan.
Yeah, like because you know we're just after watching the Titans season 3 trailer.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Spoilers for Titans season 3, even though no one watches it.
Red Hood.
Red Hood's the big main thing, and my problem with it is they're doing the whole who's Red Hood, but it's so obvious. You know what I mean? Because the only people who watch this show are people who kind of read the kind of or who know the lore at least very well. Yeah. Like so many people wanted to see Red Hood, and the only reason they're going to see this season is because Red Hood's in it, and so I don't know why they're doing it like a whole surprise sort of a thing. Because the people who, you know what I mean, though?
Yeah, know your audience kind of a thing.
Something that Marvel don't do very well in Black Widow, but we'll get to that in a minute.
Oof.
So should we just, I think we should just start talking about the TV shows. Or do you want to say your opinions on the films?
I don't know what.
Like, what would your favourites kind of be?
Okay, Infinity War.
In no order, obviously.
Yeah, well, Infinity War I think is the strongest for me, just because it's different. Well, I don't have the appreciation for Iron Man, the first Iron Man that you would have, because it started. Yeah. Which you can appreciate if you like. I can't appreciate that it was the first.
But like we said last week, you're late in the game.
I'm too late in the game to care, because like every film after it has been like the formula for Iron Man, so I'm just kind of like, it's kind of. So Infinity War, and then I like Spider-Man. I like the 2 Spider-Man films. I'm a big Cap fan. I like that. I like Winter Soldier more than Civil War, but I think that's only because I've read the comic for Civil War, and I'm like, God, that is just not. Yeah,
Civil War is just such a good comic.
Yeah, it just feels so light or something. Like it just.
Well, it's just the fact that if they did it again film form now, it's not going to have that impact. Yeah. But they probably will.
Yeah. It would just have to be really, really big. Yeah. Like, bigger than Endgame and Infinity War and stuff. Yeah. I kind of really don't really care. Like, I liked T'Challa and, like, Civil War, but I was kind of underwhelmed by Black Panther, I guess. But only because, you know what I was saying about the Joker problem. The villain literally just takes over. Killmonger, which I kind of hate that, because now we're not going to get Chadwick Boseman again as except for
I mean,
What If series, is that it?
again, I think Adam and I touched on this in previous episodes. Like, we were both like, because at the time, this is when they were like, "Oh, what's the story with Black Panther 2? Like, what's going on?" No one knew what was going on at the time, but now we obviously know it's, you're not gonna have T'Challa in it.
It's so so devastating. I know, obviously, it's like sad for obviously sadder for his family and everything.
Well, like Adam and I both said, we were just like, people had asked us, who do we want to play Black Panther, and we're both like, Chadwick, like, no, but you know what I mean? Like, it's
so
like
perfect.
there was no one else
so
who
good.
could do it now, and it's just very sad.
Yeah. Oh my god, I can't.
10 minutes in, we're already touching on some like really sad topic.
I don't know what they're gonna do. I just kind of like don't really want a replacement. Like, I don't mind if it was like his sister that takes it on or somebody different. I kind of would be happy enough for it to be a woman, just because I think it would be too sore for it to be true to the comic. Like to actually properly replace him. I assume they're going to do something kind of respectable, I guess. I don't know.
Well, we'll definitely get onto the future of the MCU later, but I think we'll pull the train back on track. So we'll have to talk about WandaVision. I mean, WandaVision, I think everyone sort of had the same opinion when the first 2 episodes launched, where they're like, "Oh yeah, it's good, it's different, it's interesting, very experimental." And then I said the same thing for episode 3 and 4.
Well, the third episode was when we got a wee hint of outside.
No, that was 4.
It? Was that 4?
That was 4.
I think that was well needed, and then after that it got a wee bit loosey goosey. Yeah. Loosey goosey. It got a wee bit.
Well, that's what I liked. I liked 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I was like 5. 5 was when I was like, because that was the one where, or no, I did like 5 as well. It was after 5 I didn't like, because 5 was when, and obviously spoiler alert, Quicksilver at the end.
Oh yeah,
they had that, and I think up until that point, it was very strong. And then everyone started to go like the more it went on after that.
I didn't like them doing the Quicksilver thing though.
No.
I think you have to do it right if you're going to do it at all.
Well, the worst thing is they knew what they were doing by casting Evan Peters.
Yeah, they were just...
They knew. Oh, 100%.
But it's so frustrating because it's like, I really love Evan Peters as Quicksilver. Yeah. And now I just feel like we're probably not going to get him in there. Is he going to be in any future project?
Well, this is the problem because obviously, again, we'll get into it later, but Loki...
But surely it would have made sense to be like, I hate it. Like, that's my biggest criticism is the Ralph Boner joke.
Yeah.
Because even if they just made him just a random person or whatever, I would have been annoyed, but I would have been less annoyed if they hadn't have done the joke. Because it was just so awful and not funny. And
I think the WandaVision writers, or, team, we'll just say, they're working on it, they were in the same position as Loki, like the Loki team, and they had this unique idea that they could do anything with. The problem is one did it and one didn't. You know what I mean? One didn't push it too, one I feel were, obviously WandaVision team were, I think, too afraid.
Were they afraid or not allowed?
I assume they were allowed.
Because it doesn't make sense that they didn't go for well, after watching Loki, I don't understand why there wasn't a wee bit more of multiverse, kind of leaning into the multiverse with Wanda, cause
and crack through time sort of thing. Yeah, I
just felt like they never really know what to do with Wanda. They never have known what to do with her because she's so powerful. They're kind of like, oh, how powerful can we make her?
Well, because I'm not I was a fan of the show. It was the one I was looking forward to the most.
Yeah,
and I was telling everyone this, and everyone was like, "Oh, really?" And I was like, "Yeah, because it's gonna be really fucking weird."
Yeah.
And I loved the idea that every episode was like a different era sitcom. But my problem was after episode 5, they just didn't run with it anymore.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Where it became such a small thing that they were like, "Oh, we can't have to throw this in because we've done it at the start." You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, they only did like the Modern Family one at the end, wasn't it? I can't remember what episode.
Yeah, that was like the last one they did. But like even before that, like the 90s one, they didn't really do anything with. 80s one, I was like, again, you didn't really do anything with it.
Yeah, they're a bit.
You know.
The whole WandaVision thing kind of freaks me out though. Like the way I just feel like there wasn't. Is there going to be consequences for what she did? Because it feels like a big.
Because we do know she is going to be in Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah.
Like we know that's going to happen.
But are they going to address how awful it was? Because this is what... Remember, because Wonder Woman 1984 had come out, and...
Oh, we're touching on this?
Well, whatever.
Oh, okay, right.
Because it's kind of the same boundary issue.
Well, I think we need to specify what we're on about.
Yeah. Well, her... Steve Trevor coming back in some random... What handsome guy's body?
Yeah.
And then she sleeps with him, but it's obviously not really consensual.
It's very weird. It's such a... It was such a jar... Because I just assumed... it was just, Chris Pine, like, his character, Steve Trevor back. Yeah. It was like, oh wait, no, it's just some guy that's kind of like,
I was just annoyed. I was disappointed because I figured... I know this is kind of a sexist thing to say, but I was like, female director surely would make a good job of this. Like, she'd know how to deal with it. Didn't do a good job. I don't know.
Jeff Johns wrote it.
Oh well, whoever. There's a lot of people to blame in that.
There's a lot of things Jeff Johns has said. Let's just say,
Well, anyway, that was my point. They never addressed it afterwards how wrong it was. But in WandaVision, it's kind of the same. Like, it was pretty problematic what she did. But is she going to have to face consequences for it?
Just sidetracking here once again, but Jeff Johns. Bad guy. Bad bloke. Not a nice guy. Very horrible person. That's it. Moving on. So WandaVision. Like the worst thing is that I'm more disappointed by it with the fact that we're not going to get something like that again. Mm-hmm. In terms of like that just core idea. Mm-hmm. And it's just you had the potential to do so much of it and you didn't. It was sort of like you had your reins on, you know what I mean? Yeah. And it was like, I don't want to go too far, I don't want to go too much.
They are so afraid to go too far, though.
Well, I think it's even worse now, given Loki.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, because they did actually go with Loki. They did go...
They went full hog sort of thing, like.
Yeah. Well...
Because, like, the problem is WandaVision is such a mixed bag. Like, there's things in there I really like and I think are really unique.
Yeah.
A lot of the Vision stuff. Yes. Which, if someone asked, should I watch this? I'm like, I don't know, because there's stuff in there that's really good and there's a lot of bad shit, you know what I mean? Like, the whole Vision fighting with, Vision, let's just say, the two Visions fighting and just having a debate. Yeah. Like, it's such a cool and... It would only ever happen with these two characters. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Well, I kind of want more of that in terms of, like, fights. Because, like, the only thing I will say was I liked that...
They had foreshadowing into Wanda's fight
with
Agnes.
Using the ruins and stuff. I didn't
that,
like them firing balls at each other.
No, that was a bit stupid.
But I want to see more of those kind of action sequences where you're seeing, like...
It's not just two people fighting, punching each other.
It's people, like, using their... Like, even what were we watching last night? Iron Man 3, whenever Tony's out of the suit.
Yeah.
And he has to, like, use his whip and everything. That's so much more interesting to watch.
Yeah.
And I think it's just more satisfying, I'd say, for the actors.
But I don't think you can do that with a lot of characters. Like, you couldn't do it with Thor.
No, well, or Hulk. You just want to see them smash.
Yeah, pretty much. They have to kind of fight. Yeah.
But, like, you can use your power. If you're, like, a sorcerer or a witch or something, you have to be.
Oh, like, I think a great example is in Doctor Strange.
Well, I don't remember Doctor Strange.
Where the ending with Dormammu, where he basically he's in a constant time loop, where it's something that they do hint towards, but it's just something that is just so unique. Where it's just like, I'm just gonna keep on dying, but you're gonna be stuck in this, ultimate, circle, basically. But you know what I mean? Like, it's such a unique thing to do. I think that's why people really like Doctor Strange is it did something very different for once, if you know what I mean.
Question. At the end of Doctor Strange, you know, he keeps doing the time loop. Does he die every time?
Yeah.
But he keeps coming back because of the stone? No?
Yeah.
But
it's in the constant
how does
loop.
he keep remembering?
What do you mean?
Does
Because it's just a constant... No, because he
does
knows...
He remember?
No, because Dormammu remembers.
Yeah.
But for Doctor Strange, he himself is in a loop.
Oh, okay.
So he knows... He doesn't know how many times he's gone through. He just knows this isn't the first time he's done it.
Oh, right, okay.
Like, to him, it feels like the first time.
Yeah.
But to Dormammu, he's like, oh, this has happened, like, so many times. I imagine it's happened, like... He probably died hundreds of thousand times, like, before he just gave up. But it's just like the idea of just tricking your opponent rather than, oh, we're going to have a big fight and a big brawl, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. I do like that.
Yeah.
Well, I thought they actually kind of did that at the end of, like, the twist in WandaVision. Or not WandaVision, in Black Widow.
We'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah, I know, but you know what I mean. They do kind of do a little bit of. She does do something.
Yeah, I did like that.
Yeah,
there was. Yeah, right. Yeah.
I won't go back.
Yeah. But overall thoughts on WandaVision. You don't have to watch it. I feel like
it's more for characters. So,
but
well, I think
the worst thing is I feel like they'll just explain everything anyways in Doctor Strange. Yeah,
probably. Yeah. Well,
like they'll just be like, yeah, for people who just didn't watch the show.
Yeah, but I like that you get a wee bit more with WandaVision because they were very rushed in the films. Yeah. And then I think a lot of people were like Infinity War, they didn't feel the connections, so whenever she kills them, essentially...
Like, I think it was even more in like Civil War. You sort of saw hints of it. Yeah. But it was like Infinity War, it's just like, yeah, it's been a couple of years, there you go, you know, 2 years, whatever it is. And I think a lot of people were like, really? They're going out? Like, for me, I was like, but, you know, I read the comic, it's just the normal kind of thing. Because that's what they did, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's kind of like seeing, like, you know, Batman and Catwoman going out, so it's just like, it's kind of normal.
Well, I think Elizabeth Olsen and Paul Bettany have nice chemistry.
Oh, they've they pulled off, like, yeah.
But I think that's so nice to see that in WandaVision. You get a wee bit of closure.
Yeah.
But I don't want to watch another Vision die. I will refuse. It's just like, it's so watered down. Yeah.
But,
well, you want to move on to Falcon?
Well, we may as well go on the Falcon.
Well, you did review it yet? For friends of the film?
Well, I have reviewed. Well, I haven't reviewed it, actually. That was the one I haven't reviewed.
Yeah.
But no, Falcon and Winter Soldier, obviously.
Strong start per end.
Yeah.
Fell apart at the end.
Well, it was sort of a mixed bag of a start, because I kind of liked the first episode. Well, the problem is, again, it's like WandaVision where it's this mixed bag of things. I think every time it's action-based, I don't really enjoy it.
No, I didn't think the fight choreography...
Well, the only fight I liked was the fight between Sam Bucky and John Walker.
Yeah, I did like that.
Where it's obviously paralleling Civil War, and you hear the music and everything. It's obviously just meant to set up as a parallel. Mm-hmm. It was the only fight I enjoyed.
Yeah.
You know.
I can feel, yeah, definitely.
Because every other fight was just like, we've seen this 1,000 times, you know what I mean?
Just loads of jump cuts and...
Whereas you actually felt a weight to their fight in that. Because, like, obviously, you know, his wings got broken off and, you know, everything, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's obviously quite difficult to fight because 2 of them are super soldiers, 1 of them is just, you know, Sam, just a normal guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But Sam always has to use his head, which I really like because he doesn't have the strength.
Yeah.
Which is, well, I just love Sam.
Yeah, he is. Yeah,
He's
I know what you mean.
Character. But I really loved it at the start. Like, I loved it more. I liked it more than WandaVision. Yeah. I was like, because I just think the relationship between Bucky and Sam was pretty fun. Yeah. And then I think Ron Carly and the Flag Smashers.
They weren't really a threat.
No, it was.
I don't know whether you needed 2 villains.
But everything got watered. There's too much going on.
Yeah, I think you needed the whole John Walker as a.
Yeah.
But then again, you needed them to be fighting someone. You did need an antagonist. I just feel the Flag Smashers were very underwritten.
Yeah. Well, you said
well, you Zemo as well. Like if you think about it, it made more sense had like Zemo been doing something and people are trying to go after him or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I just think there was too many but there was actually all of the characters were interesting. Just none of them got enough time.
Yeah.
Because Bucky just didn't get anything.
Yeah.
Like I understand why everything was on Sam because it was, he's taking the mantle of Captain America.
Oh yeah, well it was very much Sam's sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I just didn't think like that they needed to put him in the backseat completely because he just was kind of like there. Never really that. I like the therapy stuff, but that shouldn't have been the only thing that he had. But yeah, I loved like the whole.
Well, we get Sam's backstory, which is nice. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we obviously get Bucky just trying to adjust to the world.
Yeah.
Which I like. I do like their dynamic. I just kind of like Sam. And then obviously we get the Isaiah stuff.
Yeah, that was interesting. I like that.
My only problem with that is they don't do enough of it. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I wish that was like a core part of the because he's only if you think about it, Isaiah's only in what 2-3 scenes. I think.
Yeah, he's not.
3 or 4. You know what I mean? He's not in it that much. He's only in 2 episodes.
So would Cap have known that he existed?
No, that's Bucky says because Bucky knew, but he didn't tell Steve. But if you think about it, the years that Steve was kind of in the real world, it was kind of a very busy kind of.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because he would have been. I always forget that he was like on ice for all that time.
But also the fact that
he missed out on all that kind of stuff.
It was kind of weird until like Civil War.
Yeah.
But if you think about those years he was about, it was kind of rushed.
Yeah.
It was kind of weird. You know what I mean?
Well, I don't think he's not really a character for the first couple of films. He's just.
Well, Captain America's not really a character. He's just sort of like Boy Scoutish, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Well,
like I know that's the problem with Civil War is it's like. Why is Steve disagreeing? Because he's always followed orders. Why is he changing his mind now? You know what I mean?
Would he be an anti-vaxxer? Sorry, did I say both at the same time? An anti-vaxxer?
Did you say an anti-vaxxer?
I said anti-masker, I guess.
Oh,
because he would just be like, no, the government or... He is anti-government.
Well, no, because he's taken steroids before, basically. The serum, like...
Yeah. Not that I don't really care
well,
what your stance is anyway,
yeah.
But I just mean it's so interesting, like, because you think that he's one thing, but he probably...
Should that be the title of the episode, just Steve Rogers as an anti-vaxxer? Well, I suppose back in his days, it probably wasn't, there wasn't any vaccines, were there, really?
Yeah, I suppose he did take the serum, though, so he can't really be... such a digression. I hate because I think that we have an argument like about you're like, oh, but Steve is not, he's just not, he has no flaws. And I was like,
well, I kind of give him the Superman analogy.
Yeah, I don't think he's as good as Superman. But I think the flaws don't have to be flaws don't have to affect other people. They can be bad on yourself.
But I don't think you can relate to him. Like, you can't really relate to Superman as much as you could Batman.
Oh, yeah.
Because one's like human. Like, you can relate more to Tony Stark, even though he's a multimillionaire, than you can Steve Rogers.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. No, but you know what I mean by that?
Yeah.
Because no one's perfect and everyone has flaws, really.
Yeah. But he just got get hurt. Some people just want to do good by people. They don't have an agenda.
No, I know what you mean. Kira's a big Cat fan. I'm not a big Cat fan.
You're going to defend it.
We should have done one during Civil War, because I would be defending Iron Man, you'd be defending Captain America. We'll do a whole podcast on Civil War, won't we?
Well, I obviously was Team Cap, but sometimes the first time I watched it, I was kind of like, but this... I do understand why Tony is mad at him. Like, you do understand that Tony's... He's like has a reason to be angry at him because Cap was kind of a dick to him.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I was just like, I would never choose to give up my powers. No, I would never hand over that authority to the government in their situation.
Yeah.
Because it's never ever going to go well. Like it makes no sense. But I do like it that is what causes all the problems then for Infinity War, because everything has an effect after each other. But
so back to Falcon Winter
I know,
Soldier.
sorry, that was
no, I was just trying to figure out. Jeez, that was a long digression. Long tangent. But anyways, we digress.
Yeah.
I know, I do kind of like it.
Oh yeah, the problem with Falcon the Winter Soldier, I thought, was Sam, obviously, he was trying to connect with Carly, but it didn't work because she was
I just think she was
people
so...
up.
But not just that, I just think she was so... I think the whole Flag Smashers were so... They just weren't written that well.
Yeah.
Sharon Carter, again, not written that well.
I forgot about her, actually.
Zemo, well written. Surprisingly, I like Zemo a lot in this TV. I was going to call it a film, TV show.
I think everyone loves Zemo.
Yeah, I think that was the thing people took away from it was Isaiah Bradley, Zemo, and obviously Sam and Bucky.
Yeah, I didn't. I felt like they really held back with John Walker as well.
Yeah,
like he was.
If you think about, there's so much they put in that show.
Yeah,
and they were just juggling.
But I feel like they should have made it. It was quite short. Like, was it only?
Not
6?
really. Well, there were 6 episodes. They're all like an hour each nearly.
I know, but there's still not a lot happening.
That's true.
Like, I love the scenes where they're fixing the boat and stuff, but I was also
it's because of the action scenes, though.
Yeah,
there was a lot of, I think, because the action scenes were so underwhelming.
Yeah.
And the only interesting parts are obviously the actual character moments and stuff.
Yeah, there wasn't just quite enough.
But like the problem is, it shouldn't be like that. Like it should be character moments, and then the action scene be interesting, so that it brings you the next character moment. But because it doesn't have that, you're just sitting there during the action scene, kind of bored.
Yeah.
Because I think there's no weight to it. There's no real threat.
I would have rather just one big one at the end, really, or like kind of a couple of ones.
Because they try to make it big.
Yeah.
By making it seem like a big threat and stuff, and I was like, realistically, there was just, realistically, the biggest threat was a truck falling about, 7 feet or whatever it was.
Again, my problem.
No, it was about 20 feet, but
I didn't like that, because I don't understand why they made
John Walker redeem
himself,
yeah.
And then he goes with your one, I can't remember her name, I was about to call her Vinetta, but that's not her name. Valentina or something.
Valentina,
yeah. Because it feels like, but you redeemed yourself. Are you really going to be a Dark Avenger? Are you going to be like a villain now?
Or? Yeah, because obviously setting up Dark Avengers. Yeah.
But it just felt weird after he redeemed himself. Yeah,
because like I remember Adam saying to me, it's like, well, he was defending John Walker. It's like, yeah, but why are people getting so annoyed at him? His best friend just died, and he was obviously very angry. So I was like, Adam, he fucking beheaded someone in public, and he's like, yeah, I suppose. And I'm like, yeah, Captain America's murdered people and stuff, in the first Avenger, and obviously, but he didn't fucking behead someone. Jesus Christ, like.
No, but I liked John Walker. I wanted him to be an actual villain, but he just didn't. Was that kind of like, you're kind of pathetic as a villain and you don't work as the hero, so what are you? Kind of that way. Yeah. But maybe they might.
Because he's not that interesting in the comics, but at least it's like, oh no, he's a fucking villain, like. Yeah. Obviously the serum sort of made him a bit more of a cunt, but I wished he just was like, right, no, this guy is like beyond. But obviously he's not, so I don't know. It's very mixed kind of about. I think they wrote that scene. They're like, oh fuck, I think we wrote him too dark. Like, you know what I mean? I think we need to tone it back a wee bit here.
I'm happy. I like the dark. Well, because it's such a contrast to Cap.
Yeah, especially
and
that
also
scene.
To Sam, because
obviously.
Sam is just a very good guy. Like he's just wee.
Well, he's just as people say, why was Bucky not chosen? It's like, yeah, well, Bucky's not a good man. Well, it's not that he's not a good man, it's just there's a lot of problems.
Yeah.
Whereas Sam's a good man.
Yeah.
Like,
Sam's just a good-hearted guy.
He's more hearted than fucking Captain America, Steve.
But I think as well it helps that he's human, and also that he has had a different experience because he is more open-minded to what's going on in the world. Well, I think he's just a modern version.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think Sam will be. Obviously a better Captain America than Steve was. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Which I'm okay with.
Yeah.
because I just love Sam.
Well, I assume we're going to get a new one of these, but it's obviously going to be called Captain America and the Winter Soldier.
Well, it should be the White Wolf.
I know, it should have been the White Wolf.
I have such a problem with that. I don't understand.
I don't know, I don't know why he's called the Winter Soldier. Like, first season, fair enough, because obviously he's still kind of part of the Winter Soldier, but now, since he's kind of rid of it, you should just call him... Fuck it, call him Captain America and Bucky. I don't care. Don't call him the Winter Soldier.
But see, that even annoyed me because the point of that Bucky didn't get enough anything in that. It clearly shows it at the end when they're just like, oh crap, we'll call it the Winter Soldier, even though it just undermines all of the the work that he put in over the series. Yeah. Like over the episodes or whatever. Yeah. And they're just like, oh no, you're still a Winter Soldier, and you're like, what?
But yeah, so overall, what do you think?
Comparing the two, or just
on its own. Let's just say, I think it's the best way to do it on its own. Because I don't think you can compare it to WandaVision, really. It's such a different thing.
Yeah, it is so different. I don't know. Like in terms of if you should watch it or not, it kind of comes down to whether you care about who takes the mantle of Captain America or not.
Well, I think it's a big one in turn. I don't think you need to watch it.
No.
Because, like, at the end of Endgame, we know he's going to, Sam's obviously going to be Captain America. Yeah. If I see him in the next film, he's in Captain American gear, and I didn't see him that, I'd be like, yeah, fuck it, it's fine. I wouldn't question it. Yeah. You know what I mean?
But I like it for the social commentary.
Oh, as well.
And for the character moments.
Yeah. And I think if you're a big fan of Winter Soldier and Civil War and that sort of espionage kind of thing,
it works.
You'll enjoy this just as much, if you know what I mean. This is made for you.
It does kind of fall apart at the end it's just the villains. There's too many villains.
There's too much going on. It can never live up to what it tried to throw. Yeah. You know what I mean?
There's just too much going on for the little time that they had, I think. Yeah. Which, even though there's a lot going on in Loki, I think it's so consistent. I think it holds up really well.
Well, now I think we should talk about Black Widow and then talk about Loki. Yeah. Just because I think Black Widow's easier to compare, like, Falcon and Winter Soldier to.
Yeah, because it's kind of on the ground.
Whereas Loki, it's kind of... Loki's going to be a long conversation about... Yeah. What the fuck's going on?
Well, you loved Black Widow. You're very happy.
That's not true. I just... It started alright. It started strong. It was different for once. I didn't mind it. Yeah. Like, I remember I was just like, it's kind of got that... Like, about, 20 minutes in or so, or not 20, but about 15 or 10 or so, around that. When you first see Florence Pugh, basically, and they're in wherever it is, I was sort of just like, it's kind of got that sort of Incredible Hulk / Winter Soldier kind of a feel. Yeah. Where it has that sort of, like, intensity of the running away, being chased aspect of Incredible Hulk. Yeah. But also kind of like the espionage stuff and Black Widow stuff of Winter Soldier. Because I was very excited for this film. Yeah. Like, I was like, oh, geez, this might be alright, this might be good. And I was watching it, and I was like, okay. And then the more I watched it, it got worse, and I got worse, and I got worse. Like, the more I watched it, it was like, oh, I'm not really liking this film. I think it just started to... do you know what it's like? It's like eating a very delicious cherry scone. Or scone, as some people say. Because you're eating it and you're enjoying it and you've buttered it and you're having a wee bite and it's lovely. A couple of crumbs go there. But the more you eat, the more it falls apart and the crumbs go everywhere. I think a cookie would have been an easier example of this, not a scone. But you know what I mean? Where... Yeah,
it does fall apart.
You're enjoying it. And then it's just everyone, you're like, oh, for fuck's sake, why did I bother, trying to have this? And it just feels like, obviously this last time we're going to see Black Widow, Scarlett Johansson Black Widow. Yeah. And it's such a shit send off.
Well, I hate that the fact, like, I understand that they wanted to set up Florence Pugh's character as being, like, taking on the legacy or whatever.
But I think that was only after the fact that they had written the script, they're like, oh, we could use this because this character's more interesting.
Yeah, well, I love her character, but it just doesn't feel like it's Black Widow's movie, actually. It just feels like they're actually fighting each other for... Not really. It just felt like she took over. What's her name? Alina?
Yelena. But I think... We're obviously just talking about the problems of this film first, really, but the main problem I found was I don't care about that film. That film came out at the worst time.
Yeah.
Because I'm just like, I know everything's fine. I know this isn't going to be, you know what I mean? Because it's like, this is set in between Civil War and Infinity War. I know what kind of happens anyways. Yeah. I think a lot of the problems with the film I had were it was sort of like in Revenge of the Sith, where, you know, the last 10 minutes of episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, is alright, everyone get into their places for, the problem with any prequel, which is obviously just like, oh, well, they get to here, so we have to show it. No, you don't. You don't have to show it. Did we need to see her with the blonde hair?
No.
And the jacket?
Although, did they only do that to kind of reinforce the timeline where they are? No.
But you know what it is.
Yeah, I know.
Because it's obviously said.
Sometimes they want to just feed the audience.
But then they show you how they got the Quinjet. And I'm just like, I assumed they stole it, you know?
Well, see, I didn't actually dislike it as much as you did. There's a lot of parts I really did like about it.
Oh, no, don't get me wrong.
Opening. I think the opening's kind of strong.
It is strong.
And I love the cover of was it in there?
Well, do you annoys me about that? Why is it Smells Like Teen Spirit? Surely the better... Like, I know it's period appropriate.
Yeah.
But surely the song that you wanted as a cover... And I was like, why the fuck didn't they use this? Where Is My Mind by the Pixies? Because it works within the plot of the film.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I like the opening credits, so it is kind
of I enjoy brutal. That, but also, well, like, I understand... And I like the fact that they try to make it, obviously a message about child trafficking.
Yeah.
And human trafficking. Mm-hmm. In general. And, like, that she is, it's not like, where they're just like, oh, no, she's spying all this. And, it was like, no, she was abducted as a child, basically. Yeah. She had no choices whatsoever. Like, I like the fact that they were trying to have that sort of social commentary. Mm-hmm. It's just the fact that it's just a bad film. You know what I mean? Like, I think I like social commentary and I like messages in films, but I don't forgive the film just for having that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It has to be done well.
Like, I'm like, right, if a film's great and it has this as well, I'm like, fuck, that's kind of cool. You know what I mean? But if it's a bad film and has it, I'm like, yeah, I like what you're trying to do, but it's not a good film. I think, again, it was just a film that they tried to do too much with.
Mm-hmm. Well, my first problem is, obviously, should have came out after Civil War. Mm. Well, in between Civil War and Infinity War, whatever order you want to throw it in. Mm. Second thing was, I would have preferred the Hawkeye to have been in it, and I had to have... Well, when she was describing what happened to them in Budapest, I was like... Oh,
I'm going to see it.
I want to see that film.
Well, the weird thing is, I had seen behind the scenes footage.
Yeah.
And it had Clint Barton in like army gear, like grey army gear, on the back of a motorbike where that, Natasha was driving.
Did they film stuff?
They must have, because I've seen it.
But did this happen? Remember Jeremy Renner was like in the bad books for quite a while.
Yeah, but they give him a TV show.
Yeah, no, but maybe did he get cleared or anything?
Well, he was never fired. It wasn't like James Gunn.
Mm. Well, I just think I don't understand why... Well, first of all, I would have done a Black Widow and Hawkeye movie a long time ago because I think... Well, for me personally, I just want the 6 to be done and over with. Not so much Thor. I'd like Thor because I feel like Thor only started to get interesting now. And like they...
Whereas the other ones were all... Yeah.
Yeah, they're all...
Except Black Widow.
Yeah.
I think that was the worst thing. She's such a shit character until Endgame.
It really annoys me because I love her relationship with
Hawkeye.
I think it's so subtle and nice though.
I would have loved to have seen a film because that's what I assumed it was going to be. I assumed it was going to be about Budapest.
Yeah.
And like then when I heard, oh right, it's gonna be in around that time, it doesn't make sense to have a Hawkeye in it at that time because obviously he was in house arrest.
Yeah.
Or under house arrest.
Just really disappoints me.
Yeah, I know. And
it would have made so much sense because
it would have been a massive payoff. They've always talked about it.
But also, that's like one of the most emotional parts of Endgame is Hawkeye and Black Widow. Like, you don't have that really cutting moment if you don't have them two characters who always get sidelined, even though they are kind of fun. Like, well, I've only ever actually watched the animated series, and Hawkeye's really great in the animated series. And I don't understand why they don't use him, because Jeremy Renner is really charismatic as him. Well, I think he's just that character, but yeah, I'm sorry, that's a tangent. But I really wish that they had done something more with them two characters, and it's too late now where you're just like, I don't really care about them anymore. I want to see the weird stuff.
Well, I think my biggest disappointment with this film was the main thing I was looking forward to, which was obviously Taskmaster. Which, again, spoiler alert, we're going to just spoil, the whole reveal. Yeah. Because there's a guy in the film who keeps supplying Natasha with stuff throughout the whole film, her friend, who, again, in the comics, Taskmaster is a friend of Natasha's. And I was like, oh yeah, because like I remember watching this, I was like, oh yeah, I know I know what you're trying to do, but I know the twist, I know he's gonna be, nope, nah, he's not Taskmaster, the logical thing, no, like I would have been so okay with it. I don't know why they had to.
See, I think they really wanted to drill home that this man was
a horrible person,
awful, and he was abusing women.
Yeah.
And that was just, it is the men-woman power thing. Yeah. Which I completely understand, and like there's part of it that I quite like, because I think
this is a better film for women, about women, than Captain Marvel was.
Oh, definitely.
Because it's literally thematically about women. You know what I mean? And the strongest characters are the women in the film.
Yeah. Well, emotion, because what I really was afraid of was your like Yelena. I thought, they're just gonna make her like not, like she's just really tough and doesn't ever show kind of a softer side.
But she's just her little sister.
Yeah, but she was the one that was like, don't forget this was my life, like this means everything to me, and she was really emotional and like, but still so strong as well, and that's like the message that I always would prefer than just like physical strength, because that's very stereotypically masculine, like, because women are always made to be really physically strong, because
like we've talked about this before, where
now.
A female character is usually, if they're trying to like be appeal to, oh no, we want to be like a strong character is physically strong, whereas I think a character should be emotionally strong as well as physically strong. Sometimes just emotionally strong is more interesting, because what someone is who they are, obviously, inside.
But vulnerability comes with that as well. If you don't have strength, if you don't have that weakness there to overcome, but also to deal with, like you never overcome it completely. But I really like the actual characters in it. I just think as well as Taskmaster was so wasted. Yeah. And I don't understand why wasted though, because they could bring that
because Taskmaster, well, I assume they are.
But not her. She's just not.
I assume they're gonna.
But she's not really, because she's not driven by anything.
I know, but I don't know what they're gonna do.
It makes no sense, because she's obviously just.
If anything, she'll become a hero that tries to free women.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
Unless somebody else takes it up after, like it's like a copycat thing, but I can't see that happening. I just don't understand why they would have made it somebody you were gonna feel sorry for at the end, and that redeems themselves. I've had enough of redeeming the villains.
Ray wants to though. Just had to be.
I feel like they fell into that trap with Loki, because they were all like, oh, Loki's a great villain, will ease him up so people enjoy him now.
Yeah.
Whereas, and they seem to like try redeem every villain they have now. They have like one
Well, I think that
main bad
makes
guy,
it more interesting.
But
Well, look at
sometimes
Ray
it doesn't
Winstone.
work. Yeah.
He wasn't, he was really the main villain, and he was not redeemable in any way.
Mm-hmm.
But like as you said about earlier, you were saying about where they do the whole trick
Mm-hmm.
in Black Widow, where it was interesting.
Yeah.
Did you want to talk about that, or?
Oh yeah.
I was
like,
are you
say?
going to talk, or
Well, I just didn't think it coming. Oh yeah, but Rachel Weisz.
Weisz.
How do you say
Daniel
that?
Craig's new wife.
How do you say that?
Rachel Weisz.
Right, her.
Yes, Rachel Weisz.
Yeah.
Imagine a vice as in VICE. Just imagine that's how it's spelled, but it's not.
Yeah, I thought whenever she's like to Natasha, I've alerted the people that you're here. I've alerted Red Room that you're here, and then they come and take her, and then that they've. It's just a series of events they had.
They do this to us
before.
basically, yeah. That you only find out later. Where obviously they did the whole face swapping thing.
Oh,
well,
yes.
not face swap, but face. You
Yeah.
know, the whole mask. Take off the mask. It's not her. It's Natasha, and that's how Natasha got into your man's base, basically. Yeah.
Well, just a call back to Natasha using that technology in Winter Soldier as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm like,
the face thing
well,
on.
it's surprising that they've never really used that. Because it's like you can't. It's like, sorry, this could be manipulated so easily. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I always felt that. Because obviously the Spider-Man villain, Chameleon, for example, I always assumed that would be the technology that he would use. Because obviously he can just change appearance whatsoever, like.
Oh, okay.
Not to the degree that the Skrulls do it, but you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I liked it. It was a good twist. And then obviously her knowing about having to get beat up and stuff.
She hits her head and
I just like
to get the
how
pheromones
smug
away.
she is, kind of.
Yeah, so I'm getting through.
She's like, I've been in so much pain
I
in my life.
fought bigger villains than you.
Oh, I was going to ask you, right? I don't know. I seen it earlier. I don't know. You know, on Vormir, whenever Gamora is sacrificed, and there's like stains of blood around it. Is that Natasha's blood? Because she would have died in 2012? 2014?
No, I assume it was. Well, not just her. I assume there's also.
Loads of people died.
Just don't think so.
Like I don't know. I just seen it and
really
I was
matter.
like, that's kind of cool.
Yeah,
though.
well, I just because there's a lot of different blood there.
Yeah.
I assume there's just the bodies of other people who were sacrificed.
I know it's a nothing theory.
Yeah.
I just seen it and I was like, I kind of forgot that she dies in the past.
Yeah. And there's one timeline at that stage.
But I also, well, I can't start about time travel because the whole Loki thing.
Well, we'll sort of end on Black Widow.
Yeah.
And then we'll talk about Loki.
Yeah.
Because I think we can wrap Black Widow up a wee bit, but again, mixed bag. Not the worst, but definitely not the best. I don't know. A lot of people, it's kind of mixed because a lot of people would probably really enjoy this. Some people wouldn't. I just feel now it's kind of unnecessary because I think Marvel kind of really need to had this been in phase 2. Yeah. Even or phase 1 or phase 3, I would be fine with it. But now we're in phase 4 where there's a lot of experimental shit going on.
Yeah,
we can't kind of have these. I think that's again something Falcon and Winter Soldier kind of have, where I'm like, it's not really a big because we just come off WandaVision. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Again, brings back to the start. I understand why they wanted to start with Black Widow, then Falcon, then WandaVision, then Loki. You know, that kind of a thing. Yeah.
This is going to sound kind of dosy, but being a girl and watching it, there's so many things I really like about it, but it makes it so much more disappointing that I feel like they rely too heavily on the fact that this is nearly all this mostly about women. It is an all woman, it's just very female oriented.
All the men are kind of fucking idiots in the film.
Yeah, but they fall back. Yeah, even,
or evil. You're evil, or a fucking
dickhead.
drunk idiot.
Yeah, they rely too heavily on that, and I feel like the film kind of should have been stronger.
Yeah, but no. We'll finish off with Loki. So.
Yeah, that was probably just like a nothing point, but anyway. Well, I just meant that sometimes people buy too much on the social commentary over the storytelling.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
You can't just get by on social commentary.
No, I think you do need to have a message, obviously, to make something, but the thing needs to be enjoyably consumed. You know,
well made.
Fun to watch.
Yeah. Loki.
The big one, really.
The only one that has any impact.
Well, the one that's going to change the game.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Mm-hmm.
It is the best one they've done. Obviously not the best one Marvel as a whole have done, because you know Daredevil. But I live and breathe for that. But no, it's just going to be very interesting to see how this affects the rest of the MCU.
Well, they can just do so much now, though.
Yeah.
Like, I just hope they kind of they do go for it, because I want to see everything that you could do.
But then I'm thinking of stuff like Eternals was meant to come out before Loki. So why should I care? No, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, okay.
There's a lot of these things where I'm like, you know what I mean?
Well, Spider-Man's obviously the big one, and then Doctor Strange.
Like, I'm going to go watch Shang-Chi, because I'm like, oh yeah, fuck, I'll watch that. That looks fun.
Is that set before or after?
I assume before, but it's just going to be fun to watch.
But it's going to be something different, I
well,
think,
just
as well?
martial arts wise, I'd say it's going to have actually, you know, good action set pieces, but obviously you also have Tim Roth. Well, we're not sure about Tim Roth, but at least we know Abomination's returning.
Mm-hmm.
Who, you know, was doing obviously a wee MMA event there with that one.
See, like the 10 Rings, is that like... Oh, right, you know the villains in the Iron Man movies. Is it...
Do you mean the 10 Rings?
Yeah.
Yeah, not the Mandarin.
No, obviously not, but is this... Will they talk about that? Will they address it?
I think they will.
Yeah.
I think they will.
And have their own thing going then.
Knowing Marvel, they will. They don't need to, but they will.
Yeah.
I don't think you kind of need to, though.
Yeah.
I think at this stage, most people don't even remember. You know what I mean? I do have people who remember kind of diehard fans, so I think they'll have a reference to it or something.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited for that one.
Yeah. But, Loki. I did enjoy it. I enjoyed every single episode, and that's the first time I can say that for a TV show in a while.
Sound. Oh, well, like the music was great.
Yeah, the soundtrack was great. The score, the score obviously was great. Very unique, very weird, sort of. You know, it's just such a weird show. I really liked it. It was weirdly enough the one I was excited for the least.
Yeah.
And it turned out to be the one I loved.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, that's just the expectations as well.
It probably is one I'd watch again.
Yeah. Oh, I think I'll definitely go back and rewatch it.
Yeah.
The idea of all the Lokis, that was I love the the alligator Loki or
whatever it is. Because it's only really something that came into play in the second last episode. Obviously Richard E. Grant just being amazing, because I'm a sucker for Richard E. Grant. I love him and everything. If you haven't watched it, go watch With Neil Nye, one of the greatest cult films of all time. You know. Oh no, it's not comedy. It's very fucking depressing.
Is it?
It's very funny.
I haven't seen it, but
it is a comedy. It is a comedy. It's very funny, but it's just the undertone and the themes, which is like if you think about it, and you're just like, oh fuck, this guy is like so depressing.
So it's Wes Anderson film. Actually, really depressing.
To a degree, Wes Anderson before Wes Anderson, but no, it's obvious as to why it has this cult following. It's weirdly enough one of those films that was made in the 80s, but it feels like it was made in the time it was set, which was the 60s. Like, it does actually feel like it doesn't. You don't watch it and feel like, oh, this is mid-80s. Like, it genuinely feels like a film from the 60s. Yeah, go watch that. But anyways, back to Loki. No, it's interesting. It is an interesting show. I do think it is the show that everyone will like and everyone will find interesting, because it does sort of have everything you kind of like from a Marvel project.
Yeah.
But also it's very experimental in the stuff it does.
I was surprised about the Kang thing as well, though, because
spoilers once again.
Yeah.
But, again,
it's pretty late now.
we were gonna we knew anyways, but go on.
No, because obviously I only knew about that from reading things and you talking about it, but like Marvel they don't usually give you a villain that comes out of you haven't really heard about or you don't know.
It is very weird to
like they just actually went for it, which I liked.
That's why I like, because you're right. You never really get a villain that shows up at the last minute,
which is more surprising now, because I always have this argument where like people don't want to do the thing that they think is really obvious, so then they go do something that's not logical at all.
Yeah.
Whereas like sometimes doing the thing that's really obvious is actually more like you're just like, what? Because nobody's brave enough to do it anymore.
Yeah.
Like Game of Thrones and everything, like all endings seem to have that same problem. It was too predictable, and then it just fell to pieces because there was no logic behind it.
Well, I remember because like Kang obviously came on screen. I was like, oh my god, dude! Because obviously he was cast in I'm in the Wasp, Quantumania, which I thought was like, wait, what? You're bringing Kang into this? And then it's like, oh, okay, right, we're gonna do this. Like, this episode kind of, like, this feels, it was the perfect way to introduce Kang. Very surprised they introduced him so early, but at least we now know who the main villain of Phase 4 is going to be, at least.
Yeah.
Like, when the next Avengers film comes out, I assume he's going to be the main villain. And I think it's going to be very interesting, because Kang's a very interesting character to bring in, because essentially there's multiples of them. And if you know, like, one version you don't really like, it can easily be killed off and it feels normal. And another one comes out of nowhere, because Kang is infinite, if you know what I mean.
Okay.
But it's going to be very interesting, because we're going to see, I assume, multiple versions. Like, I assume, you know, obviously the one that's going to be in Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania is obviously going to be a different one to the one we're going to see in Loki Season 2, which was obviously announced as a post-credit scene.
Yeah. I also want to know what Sylvie's doing now.
It was very bold of them to end on a cliffhanger.
Yeah, and because obviously Loki goes back and they don't know who he, like Mobius, and I can't remember, is she something 15, whatever,
B-15?
Yeah.
I think it's B-15.
She, they don't know who Loki is, so I'm just like, what happened to Sylvie? Like, where did she go? Was she in control of where she went? Well, I assume she was, because
I assume she's stuck where she is.
Yeah. She's stuck
She's
where
stuck
she is.
there, I assume, in the, what do you call it?
The Bowser's Castle, really?
Yeah. It's a really good way, because it's just so open-ended now, and they can kind of do anything with it, and I think they're going to maintain the quality of the show.
I hope so. I think they will.
I hope so, at least, yeah.
I think you have strong, I really like, I can't remember the actress's name. I'm really bad with names today.
Which one?
That played Sylvie.
Oh, yeah.
It was in yesterday.
Oh, was she?
Yeah.
Alright.
I really like her. Like,
yeah.
really, I want to see her in anything.
Yeah,
I'll watch her in it.
Well, I think that's what a lot of people do now. Either you're a big name and you're washed up as an actor and you go and do a Marvel film or a superhero film, obviously.
Yeah.
Or you're a nobody and you do a Marvel film or a superhero film or, you know, DC or whatever, and you become a big... You know what I mean? Because that's kind of like the way the Hollywood almost works now.
Well, there's just so many superhero films and TV shows and stuff going on now.
But I think it's the best show, obviously. But it is a show that every episode just gets better and better and better. And like, you don't feel disappointed by it.
Did you not feel the last one was a wee bit exposition heavy though?
Oh, you needed it though.
I know, but I always kind of like getting slow bits of it. here and there.
But the exposition was mainly to introduce Kang.
Kang, yeah.
And it's so hard to explain. Kang explained exactly who he was within 5 minutes.
Yeah. No, I know it's not like that really bad or anything. Like, it's just
but if you think
quite
about it,
jarring because you don't learn anything for so long.
The exposition makes sense because basically the whole episode's set in one room.
Yeah.
And it explains everything that every question you've had up until this point.
Mm-hmm.
And it's such a good way to end because you know how it's going to end because he tells you how it's going to end.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm very excited for season 2, obviously. Yeah. Want to talk about the future of Marvel?
I mean, I don't
like,
know.
What are your thoughts on it?
Well,
Loki,
until the time travel thing confuses me. I just make more questions than there are, though.
But it's something that will probably be explained along the way as well.
Yeah, because he explained about the sacred timeline and everything, and he picks what he wanted. But I still don't understand Captain America going back in time.
No, don't question it because the more you question,
it's not going to be explained.
But I don't think it doesn't really need to. If you
I need it to be explained to me because I'm just one of those people.
Yeah.
But no, I like the idea. I do love bringing in time travel because that was the thing I loved about Loki. You were actually thinking about what was going on a lot more, whereas in WandaVision and Falcon the Winter Soldier was kind of like, meh. There's nothing really to think about.
Yeah.
Because you knew they weren't going to do anything with Quicksilver, so other than that, there wasn't anything really to think about other than who's behind it all. And I hated that. It's like the Agatha all along thing.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I hated that so much. She was kind of wasted, but anyway, we're not going back to WandaVision. Yeah, I know. I'm just like, Spider-Man's the thing I'm really most excited about.
It is the thing everyone's kind of excited about. I mean, it's just going to be, obviously we're going to do like, I assume 2 or 3, there's going to be about 2 or 3 more episodes dedicated to the MCU by the end of the year, I imagine.
Yeah.
Just because we have Shang-Chi coming out, Eternals, Hawkeye, What If.
When's Hawkeye coming out?
I'd say November, December-ish. In between Eternals, either in between Shang-Chi and Eternals or Eternals and Spider-Man.
And Florence Pugh is meant to be in it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then obviously Spider-Man's coming out. Very excited for What If.
Yeah.
In August.
Last Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah. Sadly.
We've come full circle.
Very interesting though. Very interesting the way they're gonna do that though. Where he's basically Star-Lord, but obviously it's just T'Challa.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably the show I'm more excited about. I think the way it goes is I'm probably most excited for No Way Home. Sorry, No Way Home.
Yeah.
Then
Shang-Chi probably.
No, What If? I'm very excited for What If, just because I don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Just so open-ended in every episode. Because I am a big fan, obviously, of Love, Death, Robots.
Yeah.
I like that anthology kind of a thing. And probably Shang-Chi.
I'm really excited for that.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I just like.
Then Eternals, then to Hawkeye. Because I think Hawkeye is the least to offer me.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're not going to talk about the projects that are coming out, next year or the year after, because then, again, we'll probably make 20 episodes about it.
I can't believe how... Wait, so WandaVision didn't come out until, like, May, wasn't it? Or was it...
What?
WandaVision. When did that come out?
January.
No, it didn't.
WandaVision.
They come out that early?
Yeah.
Wait, what? So wait, no, okay, hold on.
Sorry, what?
WandaVision came out in January.
Yes.
Then in February, did we have...
I think it carried over to February, and then Falcon started in March.
And then there was a break, and then...
For a couple of weeks, and then
Loki started in June.
Yeah, and then Black Widow.
Oh, okay. I was like... I thought it started ages ago, and then I realised we're only in July now.
Yeah.
Anyway, Yeah, it just felt weird that there were so many projects still to come and we hadn't even got... No, we hadn't even got the Black Widow movie and there was still a heap of other things going on. Like, there's still, like, 3 other films coming out.
Well, I assume we'll do the next episode either after Shang-Chi or after What If, just because if I'm going to do one What If, it's going to be about What If and Love, Death, Robots. It's going to be a mix of those two, I feel, because it's like the best to kind of compare it with.
Well, you need to do it with somebody who
has seen. Yeah. I assume David.
Who knows?
I think I could convince David to watch What If because he's a big Love, Death, Robots fan. But if not, Adam, obviously.
Yeah.
But no, that's pretty much it. MCU related. No other weird stories or anything to sort of end on, cap off.
No, I have no more mustache gate, man.
No more mustache gate.
Sadly, no. I don't think so. I felt, you know, like in Black Widow, the joke about the whole uterus thing.
Oh, yeah.
I felt so weird about it because I was like, why did he joke about the period? Surely he knew that they had their wombs removed.
He's a fucking idiot, though, Kira.
Yeah, but is he heartless? Because he wasn't heartless at the start.
I don't think he's heartless. I just think he's just... well, he hasn't been in prison for a long time.
Yeah.
He's just sort of, you know...
It was just very funny though. I loved the banter between the two of them, Scarlett Johansson and Florence Pugh.
Basically, we'll complain about Marvel and the MCU, but we'll still watch them. I think that's the one key element to end on.
Oh well, it is just enjoyable to watch for the most part.
Pretty much.
Except when they ruin Taskmaster. You'll get over it eventually.
But no, that's pretty much it. Obviously, go and follow us on Instagram at The State of Podcast. Again, I'm going to say it once, say it twice, say it 50 million times. We do have a Twitter at State of Podcast. Don't use it. I don't know why I set it up. It is there. I think it even has the old logo as the profile picture, but I just don't use it. There's only like two or three things we follow. One's like Crash Band. No, not Crash Bandicoot. Tiny Tasmanian Tiger.
Oh, of course.
But no, obviously, follow us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, whoever your go-to one is. Obviously, there's a ton of other subsidiaries of that. And thank you to Buzzsprout for hosting. And good night.